Hey everybody, welcome to Making It Happen with Henry Ammar. This is the very first episode. I'm so excited you're joining me on this journey. It's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting, and it will definitely evolve. But look, it's all about starting, and that's just one thing I've realized in my life. And for those of you that don't know me, I've been involved in so many different industries. I was in the music industry for a long time. I started a company, took it internationally, and I decided to sell my shares and go back to the University of Southern California, which is USC, for business school. After that, I joined a real estate company, became director of investments, and then just realized that I wasn't fully living my passion, even though I was sitting on the 16th floor of a really sexy office overlooking the ocean, and I was a director of investments for a $2 billion real estate company. And I just decided that I need to go out and fully live my life and give the world the gift that I've been given and what I'm really truly obsessed with and where my heart is, which is really to find ways to improve myself, to help people live the best lives possible. And so many people in life just go check the boxes off and are not fully happy, don't believe in themselves, walk around with these limiting beliefs. And I've shattered so much of them in my life. I used to be really passive. I used to be really insecure. I used to just have all these limitations on finances, just so many things. And I decided that one day that I had to overcome this. I had to learn what it took to overcome it because I realized I have choice. And I'm going to use this choice to go and do that. So I literally started interviewing a bunch of people, reading a ton of books, spent so much money, time, and energy on seminars, events, coaches, mentors, everything, and started shattering these limiting beliefs and started finding successes in all the different things that I was doing. And I've just scratched the surface, and I'm so excited that you get to join me on this journey. And with this podcast, really at the end of the day, I just had to start because I could wait for it to be perfect. I could wait for me to go out and have all the top guests. But in life, you have to start. And the way you learn, the way you grow is starting. It's really about becoming because for me, it's not about pushing hard and working hard and making something happen, which is the name of the podcast. But ultimately, we make it happen by becoming what it takes to make it happen. So through all the stuff that I do, through the wins I have and through the losses I have, I learn from the losses. There's no ego. I don't care if I fail. If I fail, yeah, of course, I get my feelings hurt once in a while. But reality is, it's the greatest way, the shortest, quickest way to do anything is by taking action, making a decision and taking action. That's what this podcast is all about. So every single one of us in life, every single one of us has something in our hearts that we desire, that we love, that we want to do. And a lot of people in this world, and I'm sure you know a lot of them, we sleepwalk through life where we literally wake up in the morning, we check the boxes off throughout the day, and at night we're like, what happened to the day? We weren't fully alive, we weren't fully awake, we weren't fully living life. And to me, life is so short. And the one thing I've realized, and a quick backstory on me. So last year, I lost my mother to cancer. And the previous year before that, when she was going through the battle, I would sit with her in a hospital for about 12 hours a day. And when you're sitting there in a hospital and you wonder, if that's going to be me one day, hopefully not till I'm 100 and something, but if that's going to be me, what am I going to say? Am I going to say I gave it all back? Am I going to say that I went out and fully lived my life? Or am I going to say I just went and checked the boxes off? Am I going to say I just lived a mediocre life and I lived a life that was good enough? Because good enough is not enough. Good enough is just good enough. And nobody feels alive when it's good enough. And hopefully, some of you are thinking, well, I have this dream. How do I get there? In this podcast, we're going to talk about literally how to make things happen in your life. We'll interview people. It's just going to be an incredible, incredible journey. And this is just day one. So I'll tell you a little bit about me in this podcast. I just decided I'm starting it. This is the very first one. If you're listening to this point, you've been here from day one. And I'm so excited to see where we land in a year from now because things are going to completely change. I'm launching a ton of things. I'm a founder and a CEO of MakeItHappen.life, which is going to be launching a ton of things. So I'm super excited. So in your life right now, what are the things that you really want to start? What are the things that you've been waiting to think about? What are the things that, you've been meaning to decide, but you're totally scared of doing and chasing because of what? Because of what other people think or because of fear, because of failure? And I'll just tell you one thing, is the day that I realized and that when I stopped truly caring what other people thought, when I became free from it, is when I started gaining the respect from people that I was looking for when I cared. It's such a catch-22. I was in high school and I would walk around and I would never feel like I fit into any group. I would never, even though I knew a lot of people, the reality was I never felt like I fit in. I would go to different groups, whether it was skater group and then the social group and the athletes, and I was on sports teams and I was class president, all that, all that stuff too. But I still never felt like I fit in, even though I did. I never felt it, and that's what matters the most. Because a lot of times, it doesn't matter what the reality is to you. It matters what you feel about the reality. Because at the end of the day, it's the filter you see life from. So the goal is to look at things from the reality standpoint, from the truth standpoint, versus the filter that we hold in our lives, which mostly is the limiting belief. And throughout this podcast, we're going to tackle limiting beliefs. We're going to tackle just powerful ways to maximize your life, powerful ways to step into what you want to do in life, in a career, in relationships, and most importantly in yourself, to walk around and feeling fully empowered, fully alive, and going out there and whatever that vision you have in your heart and whatever that vision you have in your mind and your spirit, we go out there and we tackle it. But back to high school, when I was there, I never felt like I fit in. And one day we had this rally, and I remember I started reading a ton of books, and I made this decision. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out there, and I'm just going to, those of you guys that know the Carlton, if you don't know it, you could look it up on YouTube. There was a dance contest, something like that. I was like, I'm going to go out there and do the Carlton dance. And I'm just going to do it and be silly and just have a good time. And I don't know what came upon me that day, but literally I went out to it was in the gymnasium, and they played this music, and I went out and just started doing the Carlton. I did not care. Like, I literally put it all out there. And I said, so what? I'm just going to be silly, and people laugh. And literally after that, walking through the hallways, I felt a completely different respect because I genuinely didn't care anymore. I said, you know what? Other people don't validate me. They don't determine my worth. They don't determine who I am. Why am I giving them power? Why am I giving them control over me? Because ultimately, it's self-worth, right? It's what I believe I'm worth. It's what myself believes I'm worth. And if I base it on other people, those of you that know on the internet and in life, so many people judge you based on their own projections. It's how they judge themselves. If you judge other people, most likely it's how you judge yourself. Most people are really harsh critics on themselves, so they just go around being harsh critics on everybody else. So if I sat there and based my value on the value that other people put on themselves, it makes absolutely no sense. So I gained so much more respect when I just stopped caring as much. And I'm not saying I don't care all the time, but that was a big moment for me. And later on in this podcast, as we come along, we'll talk about some really, really powerful tools, like this thing called timeline. Like, I went through and realized why I cared what people thought about me. I went through and understood why I walked around feeling insecure, and I went to the root of it and released it. And I'm not here to be motivating alone. I'm here to change lives. I'm here to teach you practical ways to make it happen in your life. Practical ways to go out there and live a life you actually love. And really, and this may sound really cheesy, but ultimately to love yourself, to love others in a way that's freeing and liberating, to love life and live a life that you actually wake up so excited for. Because if you're not waking up excited and you go and you check the boxes off and you just wait for like the 1 hour at night that you kind of get to enjoy after work, or you just go in and you just feel like a robot your entire life, that's not living, that's existing. And life is about fully living it and not just existing. And I'm not saying we don't do things that we don't necessarily love to do, but if you're on your way to your mission and your passion and where your heart is at, and you're going out and you have a purpose for your life, and you actually are out there making something happen, and you're going forward and you're realizing, you know what, I am on the pathway to where I want to be, then life changes. I'm not saying it doesn't come with trials. I'm not saying it doesn't come with obstacles. I'm not saying that it doesn't come with its share of difficulties, but I'm telling you there's nothing like it. I wouldn't trade. I was living a very secure job. I had a job that was, if I would have stayed in that job and stayed in that industry, I would have never had to work another day in my life. I could have retired probably early, and my kids would have never had to work because the industry was limitless for me. And I'll probably dive into real estate later on in my life because I've gotten really good at it. But I realized that wasn't my mission. When I'd go around speaking across the country and I see breakthroughs happen in people, and I see all this information and wisdom, like 20 years compiled into what I do in my own experiences, my own teachings, and seeing people's lives change and seeing them come to life, and just getting emails and Snapchats and text messages and just all that stuff saying, this changed my life. And there's nothing like it to know that because you lived your life, someone else's life was better. And my goal, my mission in life is because I've lived my life, anything I touch, anything I come across, whether it's a person, a business, a city, anything. It's better because I walked in it, and hopefully that's all of us. I have my own talents, gifts, and strengths, and so do you. And that's unique to you, and you're not supposed to be me, and I'm not supposed to be you. So the question now becomes for you is, what is that thing for you? As we go forward on this podcast journey, as we go forward to make it happen, as we go forward to making it happen, what is that one thing for you that you want to go out there and make happen? What kind of life do you really want to live? What makes you feel alive? And the goal is to start. And that's what this podcast is all. It's starting. And I started this podcast. It's me sitting here, and you come back episodes later and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I remember when Henry was just talking about just starting. And it's not going to be where it's going to be. It's not going to be flawless. It's not going to be perfect. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to learn a ton. We're going to grow a ton. You're going to be inspired. You're going to get practical tools in your life. And we're going to interview some incredible people. Some of it will just be me. And it's going to be incredible. But today, the one takeaway I want you to have in your life is, what is it that you really want? Be honest with yourself. Be true to yourself. Be real with yourself. And as we go on this journey, you keep that in mind, and we will get there. We'll take you on a journey of making it happen the way you want it to. Living life in a way where you wake up excited to wake up and not wake up dreading the day. Because that's what life is for, partially. We become somebody, we grow, we progress, we serve. And look, the more happy you are, the more you're living life and loving life, the better it is for the world, because you walk around at a higher frequency. You walk around happier. You walk around more blessed and more empowered. So the better you are, the more successful you are, the more happy you are, all those things that aligns with your heart and your vision and your passion, the better it's going to be for me and the rest of the world. So partially this is for you, and partially this is for me and the rest of the world, because the better, the more in tune you are with yourself, and the more you go out there and fully live, just unbound, fully confident, fully owning your life, and removing all those stories, those BS stories that you have in your mind that don't serve you anymore, the better it is for everybody else. And the more happy you are, it'll be better for your family, for your career, for your relationships, for your health. And you just live an empowered life. This is the beginning. It's all about starting, and I started today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. This is going to be an incredible journey. Whatever it is that you need to do, just start. Mess up, start, live it fully, and let's take this journey together of making it happen, making life happen the way we decide we want it to happen. And this is Henry Ammar from Making It Happen on our very first podcast, short and sweet and to the point. This is your life. You live once. Don't settle. Don't play halfway. Play full out. This is your life. And I've said that 1,000 times because I really mean it. It's your life, yours, not mine, not anybody else's. So it's time to live life the way you decide to live it. Again, this is Henry Ammar from Making It Happen. Super, super excited to be on this podcast with you. Join me on this journey. Subscribe to this podcast. Go on the socials and follow me. If you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to see, anybody you'd like me to interview, go ahead and comment below. Until next time, see ya.